from a freshly sanitized studio, it's the Golf Bag Live. Today's guest from Fairwinds Estate Winery, CEO and proprietor Brandon Chaney. And now, America's favorite caddy daddy, it's Dave West.
My next guest took a passion that he developed at 8 years old and turned it into a second career. After living in the tech industry for 20 years, he took a hard turn and bought a winery. Proprietor and CEO of Fairwinds Estate Winery, it's Brandon Chaney. Brandon, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing, Dave? Thanks for having me on the show.
I'm good. Hey, thanks for being here. First of all, let's talk about where you are right now. This looks like the perfect man cave. Where are you?
I'm in the secret bowels of the winery and one of the wine caves. So we're just hanging out here, doing the show, and hopefully drink some wine here in a little bit.
All right. Well, it sounds good. Well, we're going to get to that. I want to talk a little bit about you. You grew up in Indiana. What was Indiana like as a boy?
Well, I grew up on the campus of Purdue University. So, it was a college town. It is in Indiana, but, we had, I was just a couple blocks away from the football stadium and the golf course. So it was a great childhood. I guess, but when I was around 8 years old, my dad took a sabbatical. When you're a professor, you can take off a year or two, and we went to Wales in the United Kingdom, which kind of took a turn from Indiana for sure.
That's a drastic turn from Indiana to Wales. So what happens in Wales? What do you think as an 8-year-old? Because they don't sound like you. It's a different culture. What was that like?
So we were in Aberystwyth, Wales, which is on the coast. And my dad was doing his sabbatical at the University of Aberystwyth. And we just lived in this house where they delivered milk to the back door, and pretty old school. There were coal burning stoves in all the rooms. And we got fish and chips all the time. It was great.
Now, you had told me something once that when you guys lived there, it wasn't a normal abode, so to speak.
Well, what happened is for a year, I went to school at this Catholic school, which was across the street, and I had a uniform. And we did that for a year. And then my parents said, hey, this is in the 70s, of course. So they said, why don't we go buy a 1977 Volkswagen van and let's live in the van and tour around Europe? Yeah,
Look
exactly.
At that van.
So we literally lived in this van for a long time and toured around. And I think you can see some wine there. But yeah, the guy with the bowl haircut, that's me, living like a gypsy.
So you developed an interesting hobby as an 8-year-old. I collected baseball cards, and I had a sticker collection, which I may still have in my dad's attic or something. What did you collect?
Well, it started out because we lived on Purdue's campus. I would take my wagon and I would go collect beer cans. So that's how it kind of started on the alcohol front.
I remember that was a big thing.
Yeah, so I had a beer can collection, and then when we got to Europe, we started touring around and we go by wineries, and I got really interested in wine. So I started collecting wine bottles, actually full bottles at 8 years old.
Wait. Can I stop you? Can I stop you?
Yeah.
You're talking about wine. I happen to have here some Fairwinds Estate wine, some Pinot. Let's try some Pinot. Continue with your story, Brandon.
Happened that I got the same bottle right here. Maybe I'll have a glass as well while we're doing this.
Yes, let's tell stories and drink wine. I'm going to drink this. I want to hear about it in a minute, but let's hear about this collecting wine.
So yeah, I was just, I had heard about you can buy wine and keep it for a long time. So, I had some Italian Chiantis and the Brunello di Montalcino and some French wines, and I just thought it'd be cool as an 8-year-old to collect this wine and store it. And the funny thing is I kept it for 15 years, and then it was terrible when I finally opened it. But it was pretty nostalgic.
Just to interrupt though, this is not terrible. This is like real good. This is the Pinot Noir. We'll get to how you can get all this. This is a 2018 Pinot Noir. This is very nice. Very soft on the palate.
Very solid.
So you kept them for 15 years, and then so did you try to open them and drink them?
Well, no, of course that would be illegal. I wouldn't do that. But I just thought it was cool
No.
yeah, you wouldn't want to do that. But I just thought it'd be cool to collect the wine. I wanted to store it in a cool place. I mean, as a, when we got back, I was 9 years old, and I kept it until, I might have opened it up prior to 21. I can't remember, but I wouldn't admit
Man, this was the 70s, because if your parents, not only did they let you keep it, they brought it from Wales back to the States.
Yes. Yeah, it was great. I mean, especially the Brunello di Montalcino, the Pope's wine. That one I had high hopes for, but it was just didn't turn out. I don't think it was stored properly. But
Oh.
But so this wine. So I just want to tell you real quick that the reason we have a Pinot, and it's from Russian River, is so. You kind of talked about how I had the second career. I feel like the luckiest guy in the world, because I bought this winery with my college roommate, Anthony Zabit, and we both have different tastes in wine. He loves Pinot Noir, and I've actually developed an affinity for Pinot Noir. But because our winery was the fourth winery established after Prohibition, we are grandfathered in. We are grandfathered in to do a lot of things a lot of the other wineries can't. So we can bring in out-of-county fruit. So we brought in some. We believe Russian River has the best Pinot Noir, and the Russian River is, it's ripe and intense fruit. Black cherry. On this particular wine, you might have, I almost have some cherry cola to it. It's just Russian River has great Pinot, so we decided to make a Russian River Pinot. We make a couple of them, and that's because my partner in the winery loves Pinot Noir. And that's what we like to do, is make the wines that we love, and then, share it with friends and family. Why not?
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. If you got the ability and you can make the wine you love, I highly suggest you do it. Anybody out there who's listening. So you come back to the States, you grow up, you go to college, you go to Indiana, you get into the tech industry. Now that's such an umbrella, especially in today's time, but you were probably a little ahead of the curve. What tech were you in? What'd you do?
Well, right out of college, I was recruited into General Electric's financial management program, and I was actually in the nuclear energy business, believe it or not. And they transferred me out to San Francisco right before the .com stuff was going on. And my college roommate was out there. He was working with his father on a startup. This is circa 1995. And we had always in the dorm room had talked about starting a company together. So we said, heck, let's do it. And, in San Francisco at that time, it was, there was a lot of open office space. So we said, well, what are we going to do? And his dad was buying a voicemail system. That was a big thing back in like 95, is voicemail. So obviously you can have voicemail in your, right. So anyway,
keep talking. We're going to get to this in a second.
Okay, you've already moved on to the Zinfandel. I like it. So
yeah, but
we
I want to hear this voicemail story.
Oh yeah, so his dad bought a voicemail system, and it was like $12,000 for a voicemail system, and it sat on a 286 computer. And we're like, well, why don't we get in the telecom business? We don't know anything about it, but let's do it. I was 23 years old, 24. And so we decided to start a telecom company. And what was going on at that time is they were deregulating telecom. So we applied for a public utilities license and got it at 24 years old. And we started a public utility phone company. And then I was CEO of that company for almost 20 years. And then we sold it.
Oh, wow.
And that's good. Yeah. So that's really kind of how it all came about. But we were kind of early on doing the voice over IP stuff, hosted telephone systems kind of before we were a little bit before our time, but we made it through a few cycles and the .com bust. We were kind of like the Levi's of Silicon Valley. We're selling all the I think we had 280 .coms as our customers, and we sold them all sorts of stuff. I even have some British phone booths that we got out of that. Now you ask, how did that happen? Well, these .coms couldn't pay their bills, so we would show up at the door and we said, well, if you can't pay your bill, I'll take your British phone booth. So we got all sorts of stuff through that.
Yeah, it's
crap.
crazy because the tech stuff is so. It seems like life is hard to remember before we had any of this. Before you even,
Yeah.
I mean, a pager seems like a million years ago, and it was in the 90s. And the internet, and I mean, I remember when there was no Facebook and the phone, and tech just moves so fast, it's hard to keep up. And to be business savvy enough to get in it, especially at 23 years old, is pretty amazing. I mean, at 23 years old, I was like, I'm going to move to New York and see if I can figure out how to be an actor. But I wasn't making any money doing anything. So you get out, you sell all this, and then you pivot, and you want to go into the wine business.
Yeah. So,
Did you
we sold
have a plan?
No, we didn't have a plan. And actually it was kind of opportunistic. The wineries in Napa don't go on the market very often, especially the historic ones. And in this case, we kind of were there at the right time, and we made an offer, and we were able to buy the winery. It's on Silverado Trail, just in Calistoga in the northern realm of Napa Valley. And, I had always had a dream, a love for wine, and a dream of owning a winery. But, I kind of look at business, every business is basically the same, right? You have to make a product. It has to be a quality product. Right. You have to deliver it to your customers. You have to collect the money. You've got to, and it's just, you got to keep that going. So I figured, hey, we don't know much about the wine business, other though I love wine. I've studied wine. But we have a great team at the winery, and over the last 5 years, we've all, I feel like, just like the game of golf, I'm learning more and more about it every day. But I see a lot of parallels between wine and golf, because
I do too. I do too. Well, let's talk
So
about
anyway.
this real quick. This is your Fairwinds Estate 2016 Zinfandel. I'm a big Zinfandel fan. I've not tried this yet.
So why don't you, the first thing I like to do is, just get it in your glass and give it smell it a little bit and see what comes into your nostrils, because a lot of taste comes from smell, as you know. So what's kind of unique about this Zinfandel is it's from a single vineyard in Oakville, which is typically a Cabernet. Some of the best Cabernets in Napa Valley come from Oakville. So this is a very unique Zinfandel. It's a rarity from Oakville, and it just has gorgeous red color. It's has a very complex nose. I'd say dark fruit. Subtle hints of oak in there. It's spicy, a lot of complexities. Balanced acidity. It's great. It's a great wine. I mean, what do you think?
I like it. I like it a lot. It's very good, and I tasted what you said. It smells great. But for those of you who don't know much about wine, here's the beauty about wine is you don't know there's only one way to figure out what you like, and that's to drink it. And there's really no downside to that. So just go out and you start trying different varietals and trying what you like, and does this work or does this not work? And I don't know, this works for me. So let's continue about the winery a little bit. Tell us about, so you buy it. What year did you buy it?
In 2015.
And
so the winery
describe the winery.
So the winery it's on the Silverado Trail, which there's really two, and that's the Silverado Trail as you come up. So it's on the right-hand side as you're heading north. And what's really unique about the winery is we have a tremendous hospitality, picnic grounds, an olive grove where we can do outside dining. And then what you can't see there is we have a wine cave that's dug into the mountainside, and it's about 25,000 square feet. And within that cave, we store thousands of barrels of wine, but we also have a hospitality aspect of the
pictures
of the cave. Yeah, that's actually in the main building there, but that's one of our cold barrel fermentation rooms. But the cave itself is phenomenal.
Pictures. Look at that picture. That's incredible.
Yeah. So what's great is you can come and you can have an experience. If you book it in advance, especially for the cave, you can have an amazing experience in the cave. Not only tasting great wine, but also, being in a cave is really special because it's cool, temperature. It has the smells of oak and wine, and it's just a great place to hang out and enjoy wine with friends and family. And I think that's what I love about wine. I love wine because of any of the other alcoholic beverages, I think there's more of emotional connection to wine than anything else. Because what happens if you close a big deal in business, or you have your favorite friends over or whatever, you usually bring out a nice bottle of wine and share it over a meal. And that's what I just love about wine. It's woven into everything we do as far as, the most important things in life, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've heard people say every bottle tells a story. Yeah. And what it takes to get from those grapes to this glass to this show. You had mentioned something about golf and wine and the parallels. And, you can play bad golf and you can drink good wine, and you can play good golf and good wine. And it could all, depending on the day and depending on what you buy, is how it could all work. But at the end of the day, they have a lot in common in the sense that they are both hard to tame. They both seem overwhelming. If you don't know how to play golf, it's like, I can't do that. And if you don't know anything about wine, you're like, I'll just take a beer or whatever. So they both could kind of overwhelm the person who doesn't know that much about them. But at the same time, they're both super incredible to enjoy. There's a lot of parallels.
No, and I think as a winemaker, you're always looking for that, to make the best wine you can out of any given vintage or year, depending what is thrown at you. And very much like golf, there's weather, there's so many different things that happen, different courses, and it's a game of misses. So and wine's very similar. It's the pursuit of the perfect wine or the perfect round. Obviously it's unattainable, right? It's unattainable.
Like golf.
But you know what? Everyone has their different way of playing golf or making wine, and that's what makes it great. And there's no right answer to any of it. It's an art form, really. And I believe golf's the same way.
Golf is absolutely the same way. It doesn't matter how good you play. You want to play better. And if you can play and do 17 holes of disgusting golf, and then you play a good 18th hole, you can't wait to play again. I don't know what it is. It's mind-numbing, but it works. This works. Let's talk about your golf. How'd you get into golf?
Well, so usually, I believe you have a son that plays golf, and you're taking him there all the time. But in my case, my dad didn't play golf, and it wasn't that for whatever reason. So I didn't have that, someone pushing me to play golf. So I had a paper route when I was a kid, and it happened to end at the golf course, the Purdue University golf course. So at the end of my paper route, I would go in there and get a frozen Snicker bar, and I'd start talking to the pro shop guy, and he's like, I started asking him about golf, and then I was hitting balls or putting, and that's how my love of the game kind of started, just kind of discovering it myself. And so, that kind of progressed. I played competitive golf in high school. I think I got my handicap down to a 2 or 3. I was, I'm not a pro golfer by any stretch, but, now it's probably a 10 or 12, but I got a little burned out in high school on golf because I was just playing it. I was playing 36 holes in the summer every day, maybe even more sometimes, 54 holes in a day. I was just playing a ton of golf. So in college, I didn't pick up a club one time. I basically took a break from the game for 4 years. But then after college, I picked it up again, and I love playing golf. I play, I don't get to play as much as I want to, just because it takes a lot of time. But I love the game of golf. I think about it all the time. I really do. When I lay down to go to bed, I think about the golf swing. That's kind of like my bedtime ritual. I think about the golf swing, and it helps me go to sleep.
Sometimes when I wake up, I notice that my hands are like this. I wake up and I'm interlocked.
Right.
So you had mentioned to me before about a golf tournament, and you're not doing it now, but you did it for a long time, and I'll let you describe it. But promise me one thing, that when this comes back, please invite me, because this sounds like the greatest day of the year.
So I got married in 1999, and the marriage didn't last. It lasted as long as the golf tournament, but I got 3 beautiful kids from the marriage, so it was fabulous. But I had basically a wine, poker, and event on the night of the rehearsal dinner that I carried on for 15 years. And it was awesome. We basically had a 2-man scramble where we'd put up the teams the night before. We'd hire a Texas auctioneer and we'd auction off the teams to the highest bidder. So it was kind of a Calcutta horse race kind of structure. And I tried to handicap the teams based upon their level of golf. And then you would bid on the teams that you thought would win. And then after that, we would have beautiful wine and have a Texas Hold'em golf poker tournament. So it was, frankly, it was the highlight.
You were still able to get married the next day?
I was still able to get married. And the funny thing is, I won the tournament, and so I got a lot of shit about that. But what can you do? It was my wedding day, right? But yeah, so I carried that on every year.
You want to talk about things that guys love. You got golf, you got gambling, and you got wine.
Yeah, it was a great event.
So when 2.0 happens, my phone number, you get my number.
Well, you know what? I'm in a great relationship. I see that in my near future. So when I bring back the golf tournament, poker, and wine event, you're on the short list.
All right, cool. All right, I'm going to... On my podcast, at the end of the podcast, I ask a series of questions to just try to get people to think about nuances of their game. And the original podcast is called The Golf Bag. So the metaphor of what's in your golf bag, but I want to talk about specifically. So here's a few things for you, and you just pop away with your answers. What's your favorite course?
Spyglass.
What's your best score?
71.
You ever have a hole-in-one?
No.
What's your favorite course? I already asked you that. Spyglass. You've seen one. I've seen one. I haven't had one. I've missed 3 by that much. What's your favorite major?
My favorite major?
Yeah, major golf.
Major golf. Well, the U.S. Open, for sure.
Okay. What's something that I would not expect to find in your golf bag?
Well, a 1-iron.
Oh, you got a butter knife in there? Okay.
Of course.
What is something that you have to have in your golf bag?
A cigar cutter.
Okay. What's your dream foursome?
Let's see. Dream foursome. Well, you'd have to throw Jack Nicklaus in there. I would throw, oh, geez. You got to stump me there. Well, if I was going to do a golf foursome, I'd probably put Bobby Jones, Jack Nicklaus, and Sam Snead. I mean, I think that would be just or a Walter Hagen, so especially have him coming in all boozy from the night before. I think that'd be amazing.
Walter Hagen sounds good for your tournament because he liked to gamble and he liked to drink and he's good at golf. What's the best advice you've ever gotten about golf or anything?
Don't think about it. It's all between your ears. 100%.
Okay. All right. So real quick, we're almost done here. I want to move on to the last one. Give us a little description of this. Last wine. This is phenomenal. A 2013, it's 2020 Cabernet Sauvignon. So I'm going to drink this as we sign off, but real quick, tell me about this.
So as you know, obviously the winery, we purchased the winery in 2015, but we had some wine in barrel. And so we wanted to do a cab that was somewhat unique in the sense that kind of blended in the hillsides as well as the valley floor. So the hillsides are going to kind of bring more deep tannins, and the valley floor is going to be more elegant and bring some softness. So there's really three vineyards that are blended into this Cabernet. The first one is Pritchard Hill, which is kind of an area between Oakville, Howell Mountain, Stag's Leap, kind of Rutherford area, and then Atlas Peak as well as Calistoga. Mm-hmm. So it's it's an elegant. I'd say it's a well integrated with flavors of cranberry. We like to say a little pink peppercorn.
It's good stuff.
Kind of a sweet oak. It's just it's a beautiful, great representation of a Napa Valley Cabernet.
Yeah, that's really good. They're all three fantastic.
And it kind of has just a little lingering cherry finish to me, but that's what's great about wine is it's very personal. It's funny, you hear all these descriptions of wine and it's very suggestive of what it should taste like. But, to me, I think it's what you like and what it means to you and what do you taste and how it fares in different
You're right.
foods.
It's different for everybody, what they sense, what they taste, what they smell. Everybody's taste buds are different. They're all fantastic. I hope that this encourages people to buy your wine. And where and how can they order? So I know you have your website. Talk about your website real quick. Talk about your wine club.
Okay. So one of the unique things about Fairwinds is we do not distribute our wines through kind of your normal channels where you'll find it in the grocery store. And the reason for that is that we make these are all handcrafted, limited production wines. So 500 cases or under for each vintage, for each varietal. So the way we sell the wines is direct to consumer. So you can go to our website and you can purchase the wines. That's fairwindsestatewinery.com. And you can purchase the wines on the website. If you join our wine club, we'll send those wines to you. And then you also get discounts and other privileges. We have great events on property that you can come, a great harvest party every year. And what I did for your viewers, Dave, is I created some special packages of the wines that we've tasted here today at a very nice discounted price, and they'll be shipped to your door for $1. And that helps in this isolation time. I mean, $1.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And I was going to say, I'm glad you mentioned that. And there's a code. The code is just the golf bag. And I will make sure that goes up on the Facebook page and on the Instagram page. And then I'll put it in the comments of this show. And everybody can go and enter that and enter the golf bag and get it and have it delivered to your door. And he has a 3-bottle pack and a 5-bottle pack. First of all, thank you very much for doing that for me and for everybody who's watching. I think that's super cool. So I appreciate that. Real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to the Sigma Chi fraternity. They do an outstanding job of social outreach. And on one of the pages, that's how I found you. That's how I found your winery and ultimately your story. So, in Hoke.
Cheers. Sigma Chi.
Cheers. Brandon, thanks, man. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks for coming on. These wines are tremendous. I can't wait to maybe finish those. Maybe sooner than later. Fairwinds Estate Winery is the website.
Okay.
What's that?
I was just going to say you've got to come up and visit. You got to come to the winery.
Yes.
And when we open up, everyone else come up to the winery. I mean, this COVID coronavirus has caused us to shut down temporarily, but we're ready. We're ready for you. So, Dave, when you come up, red carpet treatment.
Oh, nothing better than the red carpet treatment. I love it. Thank you so much. Go to that website and order the wine. But like he said, better yet, go to Calistoga and just experience the wine caves and see the whole thing. If you've never been in a wine cave, it's a total thrill. And I've not been in that one, but those pictures, they look fantastic. So Brandon, thank you very much. Thanks for the code. Thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers, man. Well, that's it. Another one in the can or the bottle, so to speak. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Golf Bag Live, and tell your friends. You can see all past episodes on our channel and follow us on Instagram at The Golf Bag Podcast and on Facebook at The Golf Bag. You can check out The Golf Bag Podcast on Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. Please take a listen. Until next time, stay safe and happy.